The California Supreme Court plans to hand down its decision today on a series of lawsuits seeking to overturn Proposition 8, which bans same-sex marriage here in our state. If the ban stands, the panel must also decide whether to sustain the marriages of gay couples who wed before the measure passed. Gay marriage advocates have prepared for a ruling that is not to their liking and could even invalidate existing marriages. They have planned rallies and say they are preparing to be arrested in a mass demonstration of civil disobedience. Prop 8 supporters have not planned any organized events, but say they will work to unseat any justices who decide to overturn the law, which was passed by voters. Today's ruling is expected to come down around 10 o'clock here this morning. 17 newsmakers now, and here to talk about both sides of the issue are local activists for yes on Prop 8, that's Ken Mettler, and no on Prop 8, Whitney Weddell. Good morning to you both this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so Whitney, let's start with you first. I know from your Facebook page you've been posting a lot about different events you're going to go to throughout the state. What do you think is going to happen if the court rules against you and others who are looking for this ban to be overturned?
Well, it will certainly be a disappointing day. I think people will be upset. We've done a lot of work in our local community as well as statewide and nationwide to ensure that any protests that come down will be peaceful, and we very much preach the gospel of nonviolence.
Civil disobedience, things like being in the streets, though?
Perhaps not in Bakersfield, but perhaps in other locations around the state. There's going to be people who are upset, and it's important for us to speak out and make sure our voices are heard.
And Ken, let's get your side of the story. What's going to happen for the folks if this ban is lifted?
Well, people that are for traditional marriage, by and large, are going to just go about their everyday lives. If in fact traditional marriage was not upheld, we would look at our options, and primarily I think the anger of we the people would be directed to these arrogant San Francisco judges.
And Ken, let me ask you though, when you say traditional marriage, this is something that people on the other side have asked and questioned. I mean, there have been people who have been married now in our state who are gay, and they would say, earthquakes didn't happen, the world didn't come to an end. What's the big deal?
Well, it is a big deal because this is the basic building block of our society. You know, civilizations have experimented with not adhering to traditional marriage, you know, that between one man and one woman. It is more than just the marriage issue. It goes to the stability of our society and what works. And if you ask the average guy on the street, the average family people in our state, they're going to say that, you know, marriage is between one man and one woman, and it's been proven throughout history, and it is just the wise thing for our society.
Whitney, I want to give you a chance to respond.
Well, there's a larger issue here, and that is the legal tradition of marriage. When you get out of the realm of religion, the legal tradition of marriage in California and nationwide has always been to sort of live and let live. We could take the example, for instance, of Britney Spears. She's not been shown to be a great role model for marriage, and yet she could go out tomorrow and get another marriage license and marry anybody she wants. Lyle Menendez, who of course murdered both of his parents, met a woman through the mail, and he married her, even though they will never actually physically touch. It is the legal tradition in America to say we can't judge marriage based on our approval of you, whether we like you or don't like you. And, I mean, if Lyle Menendez can get married, I mean, I'm a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen. I've been, you know, award-winning teacher. I'd like to think I deserve a bit more consideration than Lyle Menendez.
But Winnie, let me ask you what your opponents would ask you, and that is, what about civil unions? Isn't that basically, if you're looking at just the legal side of things, isn't that just the same thing?
Well, not exactly. When you create a separate institution for a group of people and say, well, you can have this while other people get that, historically, the courts have always said separate is not equal, and it won't be equal in this case either.
And let's talk about the issue of the justices there potentially overturning the rights of the majority in this state. Winnie, isn't it something that the justices should be doing in this state?
Well, one of the things about democracy is that you have the rule of the majority as long as you don't have the tyranny of the majority taking away minority rights. And minorities over the years, including women's rights and people of color and so on, have always been protected by the courts. Sometimes what is popular isn't always right, and what is right isn't always popular, and the courts have to stand up for what's right.
Ken, give you a chance to respond.
Well, sure. This isn't an issue of popularity. This is an issue of a basic building block of our society. This is beyond just this mere debate here. It's about how stable this society is going to be. The institution of marriage has proven to be one of the most basic and the most fundamental institutions in human history. And just because marriage is right now under assault, we don't need to further add to that. And these arrogant judges, by the way, have done judicial tyranny, and our president Thomas Jefferson warned us about a too powerful judiciary that used this kind of process to overturn the will of the people, and these judges are out of control, frankly.
And Ken, let me bring this up to you, because it's something we've been talking to, and I'll bring you in on this as well, Whitney. We've been talking about this on Twitter here all morning long with some of the folks online right now, and this is, shouldn't eventually the U.S. Supreme Court step in here and decide this, because it's turning into what could be a very dicey interstate marriage issue, is it not?
Oh yes, it's going to. I'm sure that at some point this will rise to the level of the U.S. Supreme Court. That's why the Supreme Court justice picks are so critical. And I fear for the future of our country if we can't uphold just something so basic as marriage between one man and one woman. Our founding fathers would turn over in their grave if they thought that we had to literally amend our Constitution to define marriage for our justices. It's beyond the pale, so one of the seminal battles coming up will be to rein in the arrogance of these courts.
And Whitney, just 10 seconds left here. I know this is one of the issues that hits home personally for you. What happens today if your marriage is invalidated?
Well, it will be an extraordinarily disappointing day, but I'd like to address this concept that if we allow same-sex couples to marry, that the sky is going to fall. Same-sex marriage has been legal in various parts of the world and even the United States for years now, and people have realized that the sky is not falling, our civilization is not going to crumble. Allowing loving same-sex couples who are consenting adults to love one another legally is not going to destroy the earth. We're going to be fine, ladies and gentlemen. There's no reason for us to have this kind of fear-mongering.
All right, Ken and Whitney, thank you so much. Two sides of a debate, as we like to say here in our newsroom. There are things upon which reasonable people can certainly disagree. Thanks so much for coming in.
After months of debate, California's highest court announced its ruling on gay marriage. The court decided to uphold the gay marriage ban, but allow existing same-sex marriages to stand. It is an issue that here at home and across the state draws large crowds and heated protests. 17's Alex Valle is joining us live from outside the county building now with local reaction. Alex?
Robin, this is the very place where gay couples married 1 year ago. About 24 gay couples exchanged vows in this courtyard. And today, California's highest court announced those marriages are legal and those couples will stay wed. Last June, gay couples flocked to the county building for their first chance to be legally married. But in November, voters in California approved Proposition 8, which amended the state constitution to ban gay marriage. The state Supreme Court upheld the voter-approved ban today, but also said gay couples who wed before November are still legally married. But supporters of Prop 8 say the language in the ballot measure was clear, and only marriages between a man and a woman should be valid in California.
Now, the portion about the existing homosexual marriages that were done in the interim being recognized, a little disappointed in that, because the language within Prop 8 says expressly marriage between one man and one woman is the institution of marriage. It says is, and here we are again kind of defining that word is again, and I think it's explicitly clear, so I'm disappointed in that portion of their decision.
And I'm now joined live with Juan Cerda, who's a local gay activist. Juan, what's your reaction to what happened today?
Completely disappointed, really sad. It's a very sad day in California when the Supreme Court decided to take away other people's rights, particularly minority rights. It's a very sad day, very disappointed, just hurt by it.
Now, as you heard Ken say, supporters of Prop 8 are upset that those marriages of thousands of gay couples will stay valid. What's your reaction to that?
They should stay valid. We did have the rights to get married. What this did is it took away our rights. It took away our civil rights. It took away the rights of other people. And it's wrong for them to be doing fear-mongering, to be people have been able to get married. The civilization has not stopped. It's still going on with gay marriage here.
And for gay couples in California and here at home, what's next? I know you're involved in a local group. What's next for your group?
Well, next group is we'll have rallies today. We'll be at Fresno for a meet in the middle, but then again it'll be we'll be coming to the voters again in 2010 or 2012 again to allow gay marriage to happen.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll obviously have much more on this issue tonight on 17 News at 5 and 6. Reporting live, I'm Alex Valle, 17 News.